Good morning, everybody. Weed and Seed is now back full strength in Chinatown and Kalihi-Palama. Weed and Seed is all about collaboration. It's talking to the businesses, talking to the workers, it's talking to the residents and visitors because they know the area the best. And they tell us what are their big crime problems, what are the big social service gaps, what needs to be done. But the only way something like this works is collaboration. And in this case, when you've got Mayor Blangiardi, when you've got Chief Vanic, we're all on the same page with this. It means, based on what the residents and community says, it means weeding out the crime. And then in a safer community, it's seeding it with activities that are pro-social, that help the community, help businesses thrive. And that's what this is all about. And Weed and Seed started back here again, full strength. The seeding part had never gone away, but the weeding part had. And homelessness and crime have gotten out of control. But moving ahead with all the resources the city has put into it, that HPD is committing to it, and they know this area the best. HPD is going to be arresting people, we're going to be prosecuting them, and we're going to be making this area safe again. At the same time, with the increased homelessness, we've realized many of them have mental health and drug and alcohol problems. So more than 24 homeless people with those problems have already been arrested for drug and alcohol issues, mental health issues. We're working with the Department of Health to get them screened and assessed at OCCC and then into one of the drug treatment programs or mental health programs or programs that deal with both issues. So it really is a collaborative approach based on what the community has told us. But there are a really great team of officers down here who are running things, who work in the area. The community policing team is very engaged, but it's a collaborative effort. So at this point, I'd like to call on Mayor Blangiardi to come up here and say some words to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Good morning, everyone. Look, I'm really proud, very pleased to be here at Kalihi-Palama in support of not only Steve and everything that he brings with Weed and Seed and his commitment, but also Chief Vanic and our police officers and their promise. Their promise, if you will, to our community here that we're going to really truly do something about this. You know, it's a very complicated problem, as Steve just said. You know, our homelessness and the criminal element interspersed like that doesn't make it a very simple issue for us. But we're really confident with the kind of collaboration, as Steve has said, that we're going to get to where we want to go. But I want to really be clear. We have just begun. I see Councilwoman Fukunaga here. You know, I've made a promise to her personally, and we're making it to the people of this community that we mean what we say. We're going to do this as professionally and as best as we know how, but we are going to make a difference. This time around, we are really going to make this happen. So I thank you. I want to introduce Chief Vanic, and I also want to congratulate Chief Vanic. Our officers from Honolulu Police Department this weekend did a stellar job on the island of Oahu. And as you may have seen this morning in the paper, the statistics were very favorable. For the first time in 5 years, no one died. But we also diverted, I hope, you know, with the spread of this disease, a lot of opportunities that might have happened for community spread. So it was just a great job of police work, but it was even a better job by our community at listening and being responsive. So with that, I'd like to bring up Chief Vanic. Chief.
Thank you, Mayor Blangiardi, Prosecutor Alm. Just to echo what they both said is the Honolulu Police Department is proud to partner with the Prosecutor's Office, the Judiciary, and members of our community to help keep this Weed and Seed area safe. Since the middle of July, we've made 74 arrests. A majority of them have been for drug-related offenses. We continue to work with community outreach partners to provide social services, and we look forward to a continued prosperous cooperation between all parties. Thank you.
And when we talk about collaboration, this isn't a 1-month effort or a 2-month effort. This is a years-long effort that will make things stronger and stronger. And emblematic of that cooperation is the city council coming up with funding for the weed and seed coordinators. Council member Fukunaga got the bill introduced, got the funding there. The legislature is supportive with Senator Rhodes, head of the Judiciary Committee. This is their district. They know this well. And the whole point of this is working together with the community. It's not going to be solved overnight, but it is going to get resolved further. We're working closely with Anton Krucky from the city, with homelessness. We have different approaches to dealing with it. And we want folks, if they can go get help on their own, that's great. But at the same time, if they get arrested for criminal charges like felonies, like drug possession, we want to help them get treatment too. So we can have a combination of mental health treatment, drug treatment, and housing, which I think is the best of all possible worlds, to help the homelessness get back on their feet and be productive members of society. And I know from my history as a judge with drug court and Hope probation that folks can be successful. It doesn't matter if they've been homeless for years. If they're given opportunities, we have some excellent treatment programs here, they can be helped as well. But I do want to, a warning to any of the crooks out there that work in Chinatown. You're going to get arrested. The police are going to investigate. They are going to arrest you. We are going to prosecute you. The businesses down here, the residents deserve a break from the criminal activity that's been going on here. And we're all working together. You can see the mayor and the chief and I are on the same page with this. We are going to keep up the efforts to clean up Chinatown and Kalihi-Palama and A'ala Park to make those safe. As I was told, 18,000 people live within a 10-minute walk of A'ala Park. That needs to be a community center that's safe for everybody. So we're all working to make that happen. So I'd be happy to take any questions or refer them to my two colleagues here if anybody has any questions. Yes?
How is that going to work on your guys' end? Is it just having more patrols over here or whatnot?
So we do have currently a lot of resources in the Chinatown area. Besides our Fourth Watch officers and on-duty personnel, we also have bike units, bike details. We also have our community policing team. We started around the middle of July, the same time that we started the Weed and Seed program. We started a Chinatown initiative to help take back the community. So there are a lot of resources available in this area.
Yeah.
Talk about if you'll be using, asking for geographical exemption for those who are. How do you make sure that it doesn't just move people, from one area?
Right. Well, the last time we did this, which was 20 odd years ago, when people were arrested here, a lot of them just left the area. And we discovered that there are certain things about Chinatown, with its concentration of shops, with its alleys, with, frankly, some lowlifes hanging around, that it allowed crime to take place. Whereas the same thing would not happen 5 blocks up in Liliha Street. You don't have the bars, you don't have the environment for it. So in certain cases, we will ask for geographic restrictions, and then if they're not granted the first time, if they are back in the site and get arrested again, that's Exhibit A as to why it was a good idea to ask for it. So it depends. Sometimes different judges view pretrial differently than after adjudication. But COVID is a challenge for the court system as it is right now. But we're not letting COVID stop us from doing the right thing here. We started this several weeks ago, and I think you can already see Chinatown looks better. The Chinese Chamber of Commerce did a good job with their cleanup, but all the businesses here want is a chance to work without interference, without some guy sleeping in their doorway, defecating, causing other problems. They deserve a break from that. But at the same time, many of the homeless folks who are doing that have mental health problems or drug problems. So we want to get them the help they need as well. That's better for them, it's better for the community. So we're gonna try everything we can. We're getting creative. We're working with the police department. We filed a nuisance abatement lawsuit the other day after a building owner for allowing criminal activity to take place. And I guarantee you there are game rooms down here in Chinatown as well. We will be working with the police on trying to shut those down. They do a tremendous amount of hard work to investigate those cases. And residents just hate it because it brings the wrong kind of folks in there. You've had shootings at game rooms recently. You have drug activity. You have other gang activity. So we want to try to be partners with HPD on prosecuting everybody they can investigate and arrest for it. Please.
I'd like to actually bring up Anton Krucky, who's our Director of Housing and Homelessness, who's with us today. I'm really proud of Anton's work. This month, September, is when we begin our core program that's been in months of planning. We needed to wait to get our ARP money, American Rescue Plan monies available so we could begin hiring the proper staff. We have a really great plan that's going to work hand in hand, hand in glove with the Weed and Seed program. As I said a few moments ago, the complexity, if you will, and being homeless is not a crime, but the complexity of dealing with our criminal element and our homeless population at the same time is an ongoing collaborative effort. So I'd like Anton to say a few words. We're very proud of this program we're about to launch.
Thank you, Mayor. You know, what we really need to affect the decision that people make on the street. And this program is really about criminal activity, but we have a lot of homeless activity where we're trying to affect the decision on the street. And so that's what the core program focuses on. And so we just released the money last week and we're in the hiring phase now. I don't know how long it'll take to hire the 15, 16 people that we're going to hire. We'll have 2 vans on the street, right? They'll be labeled differently. And what we'll do is we'll be able to go to individuals on the street that are having mental health issues, a crisis with drug issues and things like that, and see if we can work with them. Work with them in a way that they make a decision to go into treatment. And then the vans can also roam. So when somebody gets committed to the hospital and 2 hours later they're released, our van can be there to meet them, talk to them, and at some right moment, we can offer them a bed, and if they take that bed, we'll have the capabilities to take them to that bed. And so it's all a piece of all of these things that we're trying to weave into it that are about the person making a different decision on the street, having transportation to get them to the resources, and then working on all the different type of resources that we want to have available to them. So.
I just want to say one other thing in support of Steve Alm, our prosecuting attorney. You know, collaboration is one thing, commitment is even stronger. I want to make it very clear, our office, our administration is completely committed to HPD and helping Chief Vanic, and certainly to Steve Alm and what we're doing. So we stand together in a very, very united front. Thank you.
And of course, Councilmember Fukunaga and Senator Rhodes, this is their district. So if you have any questions, please feel free to ask them as well, because they know they know this area and they know their constituents. So any other questions for me? Yeah.
So you said that last time this happened was 20 years ago.
Yeah.
So why did it take so long to kind of reinvigorate the program?
Well, the seed part of it never left. And so there's still seed activities here, seed activities in Waipahu, which was the second site, and seed activities in the Eva Beach sites. But the weed component, when I left as U.S. Attorney, it did not get the attention it needed. The police department kept on with it for a couple of years, but you've got to have the teamwork of prosecutors and police and community working together. So the seed components are still in place. So it's a question of just marrying them up, because it's a symbiotic relationship. When you get weed and seed together, one helps the other. And so I always thought, after I left as U.S. Attorney, if I ever got back into a position where I could do something like this again, and I find myself as Honolulu Prosecutor, it was so successful in reducing crime and in doing community activities. So the last time, for example, seed activities included a Head Start program at Kukui Gardens. The Sisters of St. Francis gave us a 2-bedroom unit for a Head Start program because the community said they wanted it. They wanted things for their kids to do after school. So first, Liliuokalani Trust paid for tutoring at Kailani from 2:30 to 3:30 every day. And then Sports Authority donated bats, balls, and gloves. And the chief custodian there, Bernard Lewis, ran an after-school sports program for 125 kids, Monday through Friday, year-round. So it was, those two were wonderful. They started a weed and seed. The Housing Authority gave up a 2-bedroom unit at Mayor Wright's. So the Honolulu police officers, led by Sergeant John Cavanaole, who were the weed and seed officers, they worked out of that unit. There were donated computers from Aloha United Way that kids could study and play there after school. So it's often based on what the community says. They need to do that. So we'll be looking at that. We've been talking to community members. There's surveys out there. We'll get more input from that. But it takes leadership, and now, with the three of us, you've got the leadership to get this going here. And then get the proof of this, keep good stats, and then move on. But we'll stay here working this. This is not a months-long project. This is a years-long project. And I think Chinatown and Kalihi-Palama deserve a break from all the criminal activity and the homelessness they've been working with. So.
Stiffer penalties if you get busted in a weed and seed area?
Not so much. The bail may be higher, but it's the quick attention, and they are going to get arrested. We are going to be prosecuting all of them, and we're going to work with HPD. They're going to identify mentally ill folks that are causing community problems, maybe not breaking other crimes, other laws, but probably disorderly conduct and other stuff. But we're going to get organized with them so they can get the mental health they need. Because often either the homeless or people out in the community are one or the other. They're mentally ill, or they've got drug problems, or both. Dual diagnosis. Yeah.
What are some of the metrics you'll be looking at to see if the outcomes are, what are some indicators that are working?
Well, to begin with, it's stats. So we're working with HPD on that, crime stats, and we're going back several years, because COVID just made things weird. The crime was reduced during that time period because there were lockdowns, businesses were shut down, but we're looking at that. But we're also looking at, do people feel safer here? Do they feel they can park their bikes here? Are they comfortable walking around here? And then this is asking businesses, this is asking residents, this is asking workers, all of those questions, both before and after. But those are the kinds of things. It's safety. Do you feel safe using A'ala Park? Do you feel safe going there? Do you feel safe walking by A'ala Park? How about other parts of Chinatown? So it is a lot of that, and we're going to do it now. The people are being assessed right now, and then it's going to happen in 2 years again. But metrics are really important. I know the City Council and the legislature want to see, is what you're doing, working. And I have to tell you, nationally, Weed and Seed is no longer a federal program. It has been funded by the City Council here for decades. So this is a homegrown funded project now, because it's dealing with community problems where they are. And it got such good results last time. We have no doubt that with this team working together, we're going to get good results this time as well. Anybody else? Senator Rhodes, you want to say a few things?
So as a 25-year resident of Chinatown, I would just say I'm grateful, and I think all the residents of Chinatown will be grateful for this extra attention. The police have been here the whole time, the neighborhood patrols have been here the whole time, but it's great to have more attention. I would emphasize 2 points that other speakers have made. One is the mental illness, substance abuse connection. We aren't going to solve the problems in Chinatown until we address the underlying drivers of behavior. And both mayor and prosecutor have emphasized that, and I think that's really important. We should look at each arrest as an opportunity to intervene in someone's life who has gone off the rails somehow, either with substance abuse or mental health. The other thing that has been talked about before, and I totally agree, and I think it should be emphasized as well, is it's not going to happen in 3 weeks. This is a long-term commitment. There's a lot of difficult problems down here, and that's why Mayor Harris didn't solve them 20 years ago, because it's not a simple situation. So longevity and the mental illness, substance abuse part, I believe, are the most important. Thank you.
Okay, very briefly, for those of us who have been through Weed and Seed before, we're very excited because this is an opportunity to show that people working together can make a big difference. Thank you.
Okay, are there any last questions? Otherwise, thank you all for coming. Please keep an eye on Chinatown and Kalihi-Palama as we move ahead, and we'll have an update down the road to tell you how from our side things are going, but we want to hear it from you guys too. All right, thank you very much.